Apex is taking a little bit of damage here. Demon 1 online.
Traded out through the main angle. Now Nature lined him up for him.
I am joined by Potters after their win over NRG on that first one. I gotta ask you, previously in the stage, you talked about the team having trouble keeping momentum a bit throughout these series. So what were the talks like so the team does not lose that gas throughout the entire game?
Well, a lot of it was about throwing rounds, and after that pistol round on the attack side in the second half, I was worried, but we've been putting a lot of work in, working double overtime, and I'm glad to see it's paying off.
Well, the hours are putting in our work, and Potter, congrats on that first win. Best of luck in the series.
See, this is why you never doubt the master plans of the evil geniuses, especially when Potter is at the helm.
Oh, for sure.
Where do we even start with this? Like Jogamo, oh my goodness.
There's so many places to go, but real quick, I want to give some credit to Potter, man.
Yeah.
How does she keep doing this? I think she's got to be the best coach at bringing the best possible versions of her players out when they're potentially at their lowest in terms of like confidence and everything. I mean, Derek was barely going to be in partnerships before this year, and look what he's doing right now.
Yeah, Apoth, not really on anyone's radar. Didn't hear any speculation, at least in the offseason, about where he'd be going. And I mean, look at him in this game on defense. At one point, I know he was 12-2, anchoring on the B site so well. I loved in this situation his movement right here, the way he was baiting, Demon 1 into that fight. Again, look at the movement, the re-swings.
You just never know where he's going to be.
Sick. He played that so well. And then Jojimo just heating up. I mean, this outlaw round was crazy. Obviously, the ace to close the game was one of the sickest aces I've ever seen in this game in the past 4 years. That was goddamn insane.
Play of the year, easily.
Yeah, so far, without a doubt, that duo, I mean, like that entry into Demon 1, Jojimo was 5 for 1 on first kill to first death.
Yeah. Here it is. I mean, play of the year. Play of the year.
This is the play of the year.
Helicoptering on people, like 1v1ing Demon 1, like they're both getting knives out. Like I'm saying, last year, I know a lot of conversation was had between, who's better, Jogamo or Demon 1? Who is the actual MVP? And Jogamo just doesn't care. It doesn't matter how that conversation ends. Look at these guys.
I mean, it says
insane.
It says versus on the graphic, but this isn't a versus. This is for the sake of the head-to-head, just showing that these two guys were crazy. They both popped off so hard for
and honestly,
geniuses.
Thinking about how that half went and how NRG called their attack side, for me, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Apoth was on one side, and then the other side was held down by Nature and Jogamo with 1-2 punch combo sort of thing where you literally had no choices. So you saw them early on in that half going B, getting shut down, even with mid-rounding thrown in there. And then late in that half, even like the last 2 rounds, they just rushed A, and it was out of ideas.
I mean, there's one stat that really tells a tale for this game, which is that on gun rounds, like pure gun versus gun full buy rounds, EG were 9-0.
Oh
I mean, that just tells the tale of the game. NRG, they got like the pistol round win.
Yeah.
Anti-eco, like pure gun v gun rounds, not one against EG. That is crazy. 13 first kills, capitalized on all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say, man? That was just lights out.
Yeah, honestly, just right out of the gate, like EG, they were on fire. I don't know, y'all might bring me to the dark side. I think I might switch from rooting for NRG, the evil geniuses. I mean, because Jogamo was popping off.
He's crazy, man.
Insane. Well, anyways, you know what? Let's hear what the NRG coach has to say ahead of Map 2.
I'm joined by Chet before they head into Map 2. Last week, it was noted that even with the win on MABR, communication issues were kind of looming there. Did you see a change in that coming into Map 1, or is that still looming for the team as they hit the stage?
I mean, I think we started out the map kind of strong, but then some of the rounds where like Apoth like lined us up or like he got like strong rounds kind of shut us down a little bit and gave us less confidence in our slow play or some of our splits. Our splits basically got destroyed, so we try to adapt like the last round of the half to just like picking up the pace. But I mean, I think they just were really confident. They were hitting their shots and we just weren't hitting our trades.
All right, hopefully that momentum picks up for match 2. Good luck.
Well, I'm kind of glad that Coach Chet just admitted it. Apoth definitely was lining them up.
Yeah, that's what I was
saying. So what do they do moving into Map 2 then?
Yeah, I think this one's interesting because I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that Chet's not really pointing out strategically some of the things that was missing. Because to me, that was a poor attack side, just straight up. A lot of times it was just kind of lackluster ideas. There was no depth in the calling. There was no really push and pull at the map. Like, they weren't really going, like the mid alarm bot, for example. He talked about how the splits were never working. They never broke any of the util and took map control before going for it. So each was always reading it perfectly. I think that's a big problem heading into Lotus.
A lot of their failed attack sides have come down to really just, they're hitting it 2 notes. It's either fast as hell into the sites, or they're taking way too long, and then the rotate comes in, and the site they're hitting is stacked.
Yeah.
And it's happened so many times in the past few weeks. And so they're going to have to fix that up on Lotus for sure. A map that they haven't played yet this year. So we just don't know what look they're going to have, what comp they're going to have. Though, frankly, it's not like they've really been doing much experimental stuff this year with this team.
Maybe the
Breeze is the only one. That's the only one where they're bringing the Yoru there. So I'm expecting the standard thing, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that on this map. Tried and true. You get your fade, your raise, your double controller, all that, right? But it'll be interesting to see just their level on this map. We have no idea.
Yeah, and what's funny about that, White, is the fact that we saw how NRG played on their map pick. We're moving into EG's map pick, and like you said, we haven't seen them play on this map. And
again, I'm just asking, what is this team's map pool?
Yes.
What is their map pool? Like, they are phenomenal on Breeze. Their attack side calling on that map is beautiful, and all of the little aspects of defense with the Yoru, how you can play around the gate crash, CP around, are so well thought out. And then you go to a map like Ascent and you're watching their attack side, or Sunset against Lev, and you're like, where is the team that we're seeing on Breeze?
Where's the team that has a depth of map pool that we saw the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's there always. Actually, innovation is always there for this team. It's just been kind of lacking this year, and I think that's because of the new pieces that they've brought in and how it works within the structure of Chet's ideas. It's definitely something that I think they need to work on down the line, and it's going to have to be a strength in the future. Right now, it isn't, but I did see something. Look at it. Look at this comp. Look at this comp.
What is going on?
What is going on right here?
We were talking about lack of experimentation for the most part, but
I saw the Brimstone and I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, I saw the Cypher. Oh my God. Yeah, that is
wild. Are we playing Lotus? It's Sunset or something.
Yeah, this is Lotus. All right. EG confirmed to me that this is in fact Lotus. So they've been running this comp, like said last week, whatever. But yeah, I have not seen this. I have not experienced. I don't really know what the idea is going to be like. But what I do know is, with the Gecko added, right? There was a lot of breach raise back in the past. We're like trying to combo a lot of stuff, trying to take a lot of early A lines, that sort of stuff. It might work with the Gecko in the way that the new meta is working out.
Yeah, well, can Evil Geniuses run away with this one and score a 2-0? Well, let's find out and send things back to your casters. Here's Bryn and Sideshow.
We're certainly about to find out, aren't we? I mean, listen, Artist, the inside agent, he didn't stop with NRG last year, did he? He's infected them with a couple of ideas. This is very close to the Na'Vi Lotus comp, except they're running the Cypher instead. Full experimentation.
Na'Vi
online
are known for being bonkers crazy with some of their compositions.
Way to put it.
Yeah, I had to hold myself back there.
Yep.
But this is super bizarre. It doesn't even really fit the players in terms of the roles we've seen them on in the past. But we get to see Victor Reyes. That's what the community has been harping on about, getting him into that position. And Demon One back on Smokes. We've seen him as well, playing Smokes before. 4 Evil Geniuses on plenty of maps where they won that championship trophy. But Marved on the Cypher as well. I guess that empowers his lurks. This is going to be a weird one.
It is a strange one, man. And honestly, as well, I think half my brain power going to be committed to just working out what this comp can do differently to what we've been seeing all season long from Lotus gameplay. More standard stuff that EG are running. Of course, you see that Snakebite is 4-star nice and early here by nature. In fact, it doesn't really have anything else towards it. All the util really expended. A slight angle. Watch for Superman.
And Marved is very committed. It's these kind of positions that you can really punish when a lurker gets into spots like this.
Here.
Doing that silent jump just to make sure that nobody's close there to the breakable door.
Opened wide though. Flash over the top. Smokes laid down in a pretty rapid fashion though. Along with the paranoia, it's going to be buying time for the reinforcements to arrive. Boombot broken just in time. Another flash as well. Good connection, but a blind fire. Who will be winning the day out? Looks like NRG for now. Nade rebounding.
Beautiful.
Nature out wide. It's very good in terms of the util. and it's found them disadvantaged position in a 1v3 for Apoth. Victor's got his back towards him. But surely the angles are covered.
Left.
Apoth, no, he wants to peek for it. Wants to make a go of it still. It's NRG with a pistol round win.
And Victor finding 3. Opening things up on Raze. Cleaning up as EG went for that re-clear towards Rubble as well. Victor does have a good Raze in him. But I've been a little bit disappointed by the community uproar around the like Demon One Victor narrative, because I think you do need to give Demon One his reps on Raze early on in the year for him to feel comfortable. You can't just run Victor Raze every single map, I don't think. It limits their pool a little, but this is a great opportunity to see what some of their map pool might look like if they did go in that direction.
Yeah, certainly.
Are the fans justified in terms of wanting this kind of swap? Because that's much more similar to how Evil Geniuses used Demon One last year, was allowing Jorg to just play the Raze on these kind of maps, and Jorg is a menace.
Oh, Nature close to the angle, it's all watched.
So another thing to note here as well, Bren, is because we haven't seen NRG play Lotus at all this year, we don't know how long they've been practicing with this comp.
Yeah.
We don't know whether EG have seen it in scrims. They might have played against each other, you know, earlier on, you know, kickoff time, and have some idea that NRG were going to bring this out or what kind of things they're going for. Whereas we're just kind of running blind in.
They're just reacting to it early at this point.
Or thinking about how teams like Na'Vi have used similar kind of comps in the past.
Yeah.
They've got decent synergy between stuff. Like the Breach is really good at being able to control the Rubble line. And then you've got these Flash Dizzy combos that should be pretty potent too.
Yeah, and even Victor just being sent forwards. Make sure he collects up all these kills as well as that. He's already earned up his showstopper. As good as a beginning as you can really hope for right now for NRG.
Absolutely. Yeah, loading the ults into the right people. And Victor with a 3K, then a 4K, powering up the showstopper that they can use here to win the bonus, potentially. EG, a lot of pressure is going to put on them really early on to avoid a snowball from happening. It is tough to stop a showstopper on the attack side.
Yeah. It's half the battle, really, and Lotus is just trying to mitigate, you know, just the attack side getting away with things.
I think
now fashion with a bit of a snowball.
One of the things I'm looking at is this setup over towards C and seeing if we can get one of those high trips, but instead Apoth's gone with a much deeper trip on site and one for info on B.
Well, hearing all that presence, no way you're just letting this loose so damn early. Tree blinded with the paranoia still. Rocket will get the job done. Messy finish there out towards Tree. Jorgamo, he's feeling that heat, has to let loose now with the boombot. It's led him directly into the target. Necessary kill with Mark falling. Satchel evading all the sides, even farming up the orb in time. He's got his back online. Ult now available, and with the door switch, they hit this one and they want to go into a rapid approach once more. Ethan, only the one but one to stand. It's Demon One. 1v3. You'd have to be precise and snappy with a lot of these shots. Haunt, one more layer to really overcome, and he can't quite land it. Tapping away with the Guardian. At the end of the day, well navigated by EG, I will say.
Yeah, great work. The fact that Jorg is able to go pound for pound with Victor to get a showstopper of his own online. They crack open the hit. Love this re-clear of Marv's position too. But then Jorg is able to just fly in with his own ultimate and make sure that they don't drop that bonus round. They did damage the EG economy, so NRG have still set themselves up with a slight advantage heading in here, but it's nowhere near the cascading avalanche that it could be. So pressure is put back on NRG to try to work the map properly without massive ultimates to rely on.
Looks like this is going to be a pretty steady game plan for them, which is just Mark taking liberties from B site.
Oh, that is a fast way of taking mound control.
Yeah, real rapid, isn't it?
I am very interested to see if EG fight over that, how that clash would go.
Door switched opens, making sure that they can clear out B again with the cam.
Yeah, they still haven't cleared this cam. That's over towards mound. It'll just give EG such great late round info as to whether NRG are really poised for a C push.
They're recording on for the C's as well. Combos up with a nade nicely in case they overstep themselves. Paranoia, or at least the Prowler, I should say. Let's get that connection. Demon One tagged up as well, finally, by that cam that we were talking about. I know these trips been broken, Josh, when we're approaching about 40 seconds into the round.
Yeah, this is getting late round.
It's difficult.
Know that this commitment's got to come.
Aiden Dizzy, though. Surely this clears the backside play. Apop's got a cage to play into it as well. Lit up Victor, going for another swing of things. You realize he wasn't really getting out of danger here. Calling for the pivot. NRG, fast now back through. Sees is a wonderful connection. That timing is elite right there. And Derek has locked them all into place. But you have to barrel your way through. It's brute force. It's the name of the game right now for NRG, and it's not good enough.
Sick round from EG. Very reminiscent of what was going on Ascent again, where they've still got such large pieces of defensive utility late in the round to go for a flood like that. Paranoia's still there, Seize is still there, and they're finding huge value because NRG's timing is really predictable. Partly because there's only 15 seconds left on the clock. A great round from Evil Geniuses, slowing things down on NRG and stuffing them every time they try to come through a choke.
And this C-mount take, you can't really fight over this one if you are EG. You have to give up and concede that space.
I think that stun is really good, and what a shot from Marv.
Caught by the trip, luckily no one there to play off of it.
Yeah, quite lucky.
Marv's got a gun though. This guy is just running all over them. Footsteps made, and he's caught the timing onto Apop. Ult popped up and online, the Iceman himself. His team can't get it done. He certainly will. He is caught in all sorts of distractions.
What a ridiculous classic Marv play.
Breaking past his own limitations here. Dropped down to 73 health, but look at all the spaces created for them. The A side's theirs. And EG have to give it up. The round's over just like that.
They're not even going to go for it.
I think I understand this to a certain degree as well. When Ethan's one away from the ult, they don't want to give away any of these snowball possibilities again.
Yeah, and Jorgamo only on 200 credits. So just not feeling like they want to go for that. But yeah, Crashy's got his Thrash online just with the plant. What a round from Marv. We're talking about the fact that Cypher is not traditional for him, but the lurking style absolutely is.
It's Forsaken-esque, really.
And what an aggressive timing to find, recognizing, having that visualization that it would only be one player holding B, because that's how people standard play their defense, and just instantly pathing forwards.
Yeah.
Even getting caught by the trip and not letting that psych him out. Getting deep underneath. Apoth even got past Marv's trip. And he still found that angle underneath to win the Cypher 1v1.
It's one of the things that having that Cypher affords you.
But also, Fred, just for a moment, that ain't replicable. That's not part of a grander plan for NRG. That's a sick individual timing play. And we'll see Marv and Victor go for those throughout the series, I'm sure. But it needs to be underpinned by a really good big picture idea as well. And so that's what I'm looking for in this round from NRG. We've seen this mount take. The stun looks good. It's very difficult to contest. Can you actually convert that into a side hit? This time mixing things up, going for the Flash Dizzy combo there for Mount. So really trying to play with expectations so that the EG players can't get an understanding of, all right, they're using the fault line in the same position every time, so we can use utility to timing that. Really mixing things up.
Posted Victor up deep as well towards C. NRG have to re-clear rubble. That was taken, so they're going to use the fault line, mosh pit. The combination of the util to take at least back a bit of that space, and they're keeping Victor still into position, so that's the important element I'm going to be paying attention to.
If they were hoping to take this A orb on Ethan, it's not here. And Ethan instead is just watching the B push. This is all fake pressure, and it's pulled out the Nightfall.
Getting 2 tags onto the players, but honestly, that might be all the read they need here. EG might just start to rotate some players up and away, and already they've made the call. You can see Jorgamo running across the minimap. He's going to be trying to reinforce over towards the C site, knowing that they've lost a bit of control towards that direction.
But NRG are not committing anywhere, and there's still only 30 seconds on the clock. They haven't made a decision.
Looking for a detainment, anything to just force the hand of these EG players, but they're backed away entirely. No detainment. Superman is taking out Demon 1. Marved, you're aware of the low possibilities, but again, he has to take matters into his own hands. Double face, running him down now. Just trying to use the trip to slow them in their place, but where is the ending here for NRG? Is it towards B? Only 10 seconds remaining. It's EG. They are just plucking them apart. Unraveling the thread that is this round, having to commit and stick this one, but there are no defense available. Not for Victor.
The decision-making needs to be snappier for NRG.
Yeah.
Make a call. What are you doing in that moment when the nightfall hits?
You're seeing the same problems rear its head as that first map. Just the inefficiency. I mean, settling in. They have a basic idea of what they want to do. But
it's
Victor
just too
taking
slow.
Mount, you pressure A, you try and force rotate, you go back over to the C. But you're right, it's too slow. By the time you're actually getting into position to even do anything, there's 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, they really have been watching the Na'Vi bots. Yeah. trying to take the time down like crazy. That round, though, got to give credit to Marv. They knew that he was coming. Apoth had already seen the Marv lurk on the cam, and Marv still got a kill and took 2 people on a merry chase. If Marv's feeling like he can take the timings to get the kills, then he's going to make it easier for NRG. But I still haven't seen that good attack side that we need evidence of.
Nice movement from Victor. Ooh, bit of a... Okay. Friendly fire there with a fault line. Superman's not going to be pushed away from this triangle so easily, though. He's still holding on to control of this. And with EG layering down the pit on the other section of the map, out towards the C main choke. Again, NRG are going to be super limited in terms of the way they want to try and take this and fight this. How do you even clear the pit?
Yeah, I don't think you can clear the pit very well with this composition. You don't have Prowlers to follow. You don't have, like, a Nightfall ultimate to go with or anything like that. They don't even have the Omen ult to get on the other side of the pit like we've seen some teams go for. I think EG... they just know that the C site is locked down under nature's control.
That's why they're stacking 4 players, B, A area. Prowler in the mid round by Derek. It's both of them going to be used. Peeks out wide, sees, nades, just missing. Ever so slightly going for that refight over towards A. Rubble, 40 seconds into the round.
Do they use this timing after the Haunt? The Haunt sees nobody. Now you start to take some space forwards. 30 seconds left. End A with the fault line.
Okay, rolling thunder over towards B. Instead, it's going to pave the way out through the baby door. No one can really stand their ground towards it. Jorgamo taking liberties. This man's feeling free right now, all the way over towards the side. And the transfer of a lifetime. Derek is doing the most for it, but maybe they can overpower their way back into the side. NRG 2v2. Maybe they can isolate this fight here. Snake bite. Mosh pit meeting the match! Superman! He just collects it anyway.
These EG players, they're white hot. It's not the same players every round either.
No.
We've been singing the praises of Apoth and Jorgamo, but Superman there, just dunking on a double face of NRG. That's a spot where you should be going 1-for-1 max.
Down you go.
Just deletes them. Another round, though, where NRG's macro scrambles to get the plant down in a scrappy situation, all flooding through that breakable door. They are struggling to get themselves into spots. They're not fast enough to take advantage of these macro opportunities. There's some sluggishness with the way they're calling.
Exactly. The slow rounds have been tripping them up. When the decision-making's easy for NRG, when you have these big ults like the showstopper, Victor's earned it again. It is a weaker buy, so he's probably not going to want to offload it. But you think about some of these rounds they were playing, it was Victor just using it right off the rip.
Yeah.
Fast tempo plays.
Whoa.
That's a nice one to find.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see it, but I heard it, and there was 1 bullet. So that's going to look nasty in a replay. Marv's getting squished outside B.
Need this kill onto him at least to try and make it a bit more doable. He's tucked close into the corner. Satchels are nice. Pushing them back and away. Victor. Okay, finding no value there, at least from the rocket, but it does at least get them access to the A site.
Absolutely, I think that's worthwhile. Demon 1 away from ult. Crashies 1 away from ult. Kills here could turn things.
EG really quite fast. They need to clear out rubble. It's one of the things that they're quite concerned about here. Aftershock. Pushing them back, flip the switch, forcing Ethan towards the back of the site. Close quarters. So they're trying to do a bit of work here with the Stingers, and they're doubled up onto Heaven. Apoth! 1 and done there, traded out. NRG, they're finding value. Tucked into all these tight positions. And it's precision on display by Demon 1.
Lovely round from NRG. Great post plan. And I think a good usage of the showstopper there. Hopefully we get to see Demon 1's entry too. He was to play with a Vandal. Put that hero rifle.
Jump spot? Oh, just a jiggle.
Yeah. And now one shot, that's the level of Demon 1 precision that we know and love. And yet haven't been seeing a ton of recently.
Not one left.
But he is very comfortable on smokes. And now EG drop down onto an eco. First one that I can remember seeing from them. With how dominant Ascent was.
Mixing up the way that Marv's playing. It's normally front section of B. This time he is alone.
He's always so aggressive in these
There's so much
spots.
danger. There's so much danger. Crosshair placement, though, is quite ideal for it. Satchelled! Jorgamo! My God, he's disrespecting him!
I love the way that Jorg plays. He's got to be one of the most entertaining players to watch.
We're moving like that.
It's him and Jing. There's something to do with having a J in your name.
I can't disagree.
Spike planted.
He's earned himself a rifle, but surely that's where the retake ends for EG. They have util available for them, but Jorgamo down and out. Sheriffs nailing a few of these shots here. Crash is even feeling like he had to use the thrash into this particular position. They're being squeezed. NRG, though, should still be favored. Jump spot. It's only real way to clear it. Derek
Standing.
only be able to do so much here. Time running short now. Spike chipping away. Hello, 1v1. Crashies holding on.
A very solid kill there at the end from Crashies, but Apoth applied the pressure. I'm not sure there was even enough time for him to run back had he got the kill. But they certainly gave it a good old college try. Watching Marv's POV is scaring the bejesus out of him, man. He's putting himself on such aggressive spots as the solo lurk player. And that's on B and on A. It's like he just has ultimate faith in himself to be able to win any fight against any number of players.
Yeah.
Which, listen, I respect the confidence, but I think EG have got enough ideas that they're going to be able to punish him eventually. It's Evil Geniuses now, though, taking a tactical timeout, looking to try to reassess what's going on. And to be honest, the two big rounds that NRG have won, one was because Marv got a super aggro lurk towards B and was forcing the fight, and he won it. And the other is because Demon 1 was able to get that entry on A and they followed up on an eco round.
Yeah.
The rest have just been because NRG were rifles versus eco. So I don't think there's too much for EG to necessarily adjust here. They have massive ultimates. This is already a good defense half, I think.
Yeah, not too many tangibles to grab hold of. Might be just looking to cook something up themselves, like you said, with the ultimates they've got. I mean, Nightfall, Showstopper.
I mean, the first thing that comes into my head is the idea of going for the Prowler aggressively out here and trying to use the Showstopper to get onto Marv, which is something that other teams have run against EG pretty often, and Apoth has sometimes fallen to it. Getting punishes onto Marv, and this time, I mean, they've read it again, where Marv is going to be on A. Both teams kind of rotating the map on each other, but Marv this time taking a more passive route, respecting the fact that he got pushed previously. He doesn't want to tangle with it, but EG are faking that control.
Now Gido contacted quite close to the corner. Trip going to be tripping him up for only a moment here for Victor. Can deal with it. They just got a snake bite that's going to be landing for when this plant starts to get online, and there it goes, flying forwards with the nade that's going to disrupt it. So the plant online for them. Now time bought, EG, Nightfall, forwards, the senses cut away, Spike regains, but they want to try and pivot into B. Who's going to be leading the charge from this? Ethan, wading right into the trip. Apoth, ult online, Norofef gives him all the info. And a key reposition now, he's going to be cutting up close and tight to these corners. There are no gaps right now in the EG's playbook.
They could have held there on C. NRG, they had the orbital strike. They could have held off that push and tried to pause the round and freeze. And instead, they keep trying to rotate and find the weak spot. EG are just reading that.
Apoth. It's an off angle. Might choose to just peek it here in forward cam. Seeing it now and hearing it. Footsteps rumbling forward towards him. Kills it to be found, and they are evened out, at least on the side of NRG. The two can stand here to try and get this plant down over towards A.
I don't see how they're stopping Jorg.
Yeah, and here it is. Showstopper. Basically let the fuse burn out. You need a kill to be found. But Demon 1 has dropped one player. The stand crashes. He's just being isolated. Locked down in a position, rooted. A tap. 6 seconds, and Derek faces. Boundless confidence here, 5-5. EG. It's a stellar defensive half of Lotus, I gotta say.
Really is. I think one of the big problems with the way that NRG are calling on every single map on their attack side is that they're always trying to find the weak spot in their opponent's defense setup. So here, for example, they've realized that everybody from EG is ready to flood defend C, so they try to pivot out and go B. But the problem with that is... The problem with that is it's easier for the defenders to anticipate those kind of rotates. And in this game, you can throw down so many mollies, seizes, paranoias, all these kind of things to make that an impossible pivot. They haven't dealt with the trip. Ethan just dies to that instantly. They need to add a few more of these freezes into their game, where they just pause, try to re-clear areas of the map that their defenders are fighting over. I think it's a really big like mindset issue that's currently stopping NRG from reaching their potential, but EG doing a stellar job of punishing that. Chet's going to try and fix things for the last 2 rounds of the half. The money is still in an all-right position, unless NRG lose the upcoming one.
Comes down to this. Do have the orbital strike to maybe work with, but when NRG get pushed like this, it feels like they just try and increase the tempo massively. They go for these all-in plays.
That's what they did on Ascent.
Yeah. Backs against the wall. Maybe they can come up with something different, but right now a lot of eyes looking towards the B site.
Yeah, certainly looks like we're going to see an early stun on B with Victor trying to follow up on it. They're just doing that normal cage, making it feel like it's only Marved here towards B. And if they bait Jorg and Derek into fighting, they're going to find themselves stunned by the breach.
So far, very interesting looking wall. Not really seeing too much more in terms of the POVs. Crash, he's hunting for this cam. Pesky problem, did he have to dislodge?
There's that Prowler. Quite late into the round, the second Prowler from Derek to put a bit of pressure on the Marv. And the rest of the team at this point had kind of rotated off.
Yeah.
So
I'm a bit worried for NRG though, still at this point, Josh.
Well, a 1 minute re-clear of rubble I think is pretty standard. This isn't too bad, but they don't have that normal Viper wall that they can put up and drop. So this is going to make it more obvious they're headed towards A.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of utility expended just to take that mosh pit flash, fault line stun.
They can pivot B here because Marved is in a nice spot.
Oh yeah! Monster
But the squeeze will be a good call to do, and it looks like that's what they're going to be trying to do. Snakebite down at the feet, up and down one angle, and it has just put a bit of a pause into the round, but maybe Firepower can do it. Lovely jump spot. Victor is just messing up the aim enough for his team to really get into the fight. Nade rebounding, will disrupt it again. This plan is going to be pushed back and away, and with Derek finding that one kill, the straggler crashes. He's supposed to be that late lurk, but an ult earned. Victor holding the rocket into his hands, contacting slowly as he goes, and just about catching. So 2 to stand here into this retake. Do EG still want to make a go of things? Jorgamo finds a kill. It's a little bit messy. Bulldog doesn't make it a clean job, and so there's still some fight left for these EG players. They do want to make a go of this one. Hearing that reload up high, damage done to a multitude of targets, but it's NRG. We're just going to be narrowly taking the lead.
I think that's a great round from NRG called out of attack timeout. They do so much on their attack round there that has been tripping them up before. They go and insert Marved into a deep position on B with the rest of the team ready to punish in case Marved got challenged. They also cleared out Mound. They didn't break the trip, but they cleared Mound. Then they went back to A and had the option of pivoting B. That's how you work the map properly. That was a lovely round called by Ethan with Chet assisting out of the attack timeout. And it's dropped the economy of EG and set NRG up for a 7-5 half if they can just convert this one.
That's where the importance lies. And you can see just the fault line being held. UI elements.
Toxin screen down.
That's just a punish in case there is a play to refight out towards rubble. Anybody pushes past the door.
Demon One's been holding this orbital strike an awful long time. I don't know whether it's designed purely as post-plant utility, but you'd imagine that you could put the squeeze onto nature here.
Oh yeah.
As soon as the Snakebite goes out, you're like, right, I know exactly where the Vipers stood.
Should be quite predictable, but I'm choosing to do it. Nature, jiggling. Dodging everything. Now to Util Kitchen. Sing being sent at him. And they do eventually isolate it. Stunned up Jorgamo. Still with a cage fading away. Gives him that opening. Satchel forwards. And around to the corner here. NRG not going to be given that easy access over towards the A site. They can't find these easy fights. These duels. Entirely the way of EG. It's falling to pieces. In NRG's camp, they had all the weaponry. They had a big ult. Almost as good as a beginning as you could really hope for, but that flood defense of EG now has basically ramped it up nice and pretty, 6-6. Unless Marv can just go huge and nuclear, it's not likely though.
It's got 20 seconds left. It's an impossibility. The rest of the team just looking to focus on their defense half at this point, I think. Well wishes to Marv. Give it the best shot.
And Jorgamo taps out wide there, bit of a pre-fire. 6-6. Like I said, wraps it up nice and pretty. synchronized, but on Lotus, we know how this map tends to be on the attack side. EG, it's a hell of a half for them.
Yeah, I think this is going to put massive pressure on the NRG camp. EG all smiles on their side as we ended the half even. They know it's an attack-sided map. Their comp has so many ults to work with.
It's feeling all the more likely, isn't it? We're creeping closer. But over on the LATAM broadcast, spoke with Potter about how she motivates her team. Check this one out.
I had a lot of one-on-ones after we got destroyed by crew with each of the players. And in my conversations with them, I asked them, if we were playing basketball right now and Shaq was on the other side, it's Shaq over there. Do you see yourself as like a tiny kid on the court trying to play basketball versus Shaq? Or are you a huge like Shaq is, right? And they all said they were like a small, you know, they were scrappy, David and Goliath, but they were going to come back and everyone's going to respect them for fighting again, right? Even though they're small. And I said, I don't see you like that. I don't think anyone else sees you like that. You're Shaq. You're just as big as this. Wow. He's just been in the league for a little bit longer, right? So you have just as many tools as these guys. And that's been the thing for this squad is they're so talented, all of them, so talented, but just the confidence.
That's so out of pocket. That analogy, while you're talking to somebody who's 2 foot shorter than you, it's so out of pocket.
Oh, Dan, man.
No, that's a wonderful interview, and Dan does fantastic interviews over on the LATAM broadcast. And I love the way that Potter's talking about that, because I think a lot of coaches would lean into the scrappy underdog mentality to try to feed into that feeling of, I'm going to come back, people are going to respect me. But instead, Potter's telling them that that concept of even people being favored against them is wrong. That they're thinking about the David Goliath situation incorrectly. That, I mean, and she proved it last year.
Oh, yeah.
With that EG team. And yes, this year around, I think there's less raw talent in the server for Evil Geniuses to work with. They don't have that Demon 1. They don't have Ethan, who's got such a storied career. But they've still got super heavy hitters in certain roles. I mean, Jorgamo's been lighting the world up.
Yeah.
Apoth's been fantastic over the last few matches as well. And Derek's at the top of the scoreboard and continues to be damn good in the clutch since he's left 100 Thieves.
A bit of a redemption arc for Derek and a whole load of these players. And of course, you can't count out the blueprint. Potter's been providing it. The key to victory for EG, how prepped they were, all these cool ideas, bringing it into the mix. And now, going toe-to-toe with a team like NRG, looking rough around the edges.
Pistol round setup here for NRG has got them trying to control the whole of Mound. I mean, there is just nobody home on the A site whatsoever on the defense. They've just got that trip.
I made a bit of a pencil jump by Jorg. I think that's to clear the way.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to hard commit into it, but he's just trying to get height so he can clear Mound. That's a crazy way to do it.
My question is, what protocol happens if nature opens the door? Does NRG abandon their setup?
Triple faced up. Apoth. Oh, it could be under some immense pressure here. It's still going to be chased down, but Baka arriving just in time. EG covering the retreat. And now the hard pivot over towards A.
Lovely dismantling of that pistol round strat by EG. They knew something was up. They held their ground, waited to bait out the response from NRG. Now they've got a 5v2 advantage.
I threw Ethan wants to go fast with this one. Aftershock. Even a flash. Connecting but vulnerable to up. Ethan is back to all of them. The only chances for NRG into this pistol round to just go fast and loose and disrupt that plan as it was going down.
These are the kind of pistol rounds, by the way, where NRG will be so happy to take those kind of raw fights. They'll just think of themselves as better because they've achieved more in the past.
Whoa!
For a moment, maybe Crashy's had the belief there too. But like that fight out of B main, where it's just a straight up fight. Even the fault line trying to assist the NRG players, they will feel so comfortable because they think of themselves as those big dogs in the server.
And a lot of teams, when they're taking fights like this, they won't overextend into this deep angle.
It's really tough. They win fights there.
Yeah, you see that kind of discipline being instilled by a lot of teams, which I'm assuming has been honed through scrims, where they've tried to go through similar plays and they've been punished like NRG here.
The problem is when you swing out a B like that, they can be on either side of the choke point.
It's
not
not
so much further back.
It's not a favorite fight for NRG to take.
It's not. That's why I'm saying I think they will just favor the fact that they feel like they're better fraggers, but EG are you know, with them pound for pound today, and with better game plans, I think. The one way missing there from Superman, but I don't think it's going to make too much difference in the round. EG have got an overwhelming rifle advantage, and this is where you start to see players like Jorgamo looking to flex that advantage, take an alt orb, get in the face of the NRG players.
A lot of concerns, I think, of potentials for a trap play, especially when they've got the Cypher, the fault line availability. Breach does allow you to just sync up a lot of the utility.
Yeah, Marv can create threats around the map just by putting his cam or trips in weird spots, because they're going to assume that there's a trap play behind it.
You can see it just from the way that EG are making sure that the front section of C is entirely clear before they go for the orb.
Yeah, they have actually spent so long clearing the front part of C out, they've allowed NRG to stack it.
And here's the fault line. Nade into the back, slow down, TP, disengage in a way. Jorgamo, his chances here that he could fall, especially with this cage in his face. It's an awkward fight, but they're going to be overwhelming his position, spraying all of them down, every single target. You stand a chance. Precisely the target you don't want those kills on. Jorgamo, this guy, it's not just the confidence that he's feeling right now, but he's earned himself up to a big ult.
That's going to be something that now NRG have to keep in the back of their minds, or the forefront of their minds really, and come up with a strategy on defense that accounts for that. Can they force it out early by putting the squeeze onto Jorg somewhere? Apoth also just walked through there on B, so that's another gap that NRG need to keep their eyes on too. Getting stressed around the map here. It should be really difficult for EG to take rubble control anytime Ethan wants to fight over it early round. So EG are probably just going to do what they're doing here. Take C early on, and then re-clear A if they need to.
And this is where the meta's been trending on Lotus these days. Not too much fighting on the attack side out towards rubble. Usually a later re-clear.
Hello, Marv.
Oh, okay.
He saw where that was going for. He knew it was aimed towards him.
Dropped down to 70 health.
I think possibly he thought that it was just for back pillar instead of towards spawn. And there's Apoth early. First 40 seconds breaking that trip. That's going to keep somebody in that spot. And Ethan desperately wants to provide utility assistance to the rest of his team as they're trying to flood defend. But he's got to keep his eyes on B now.
And you can still do work here, though. They've stacked this one with the appropriate amount of players, and with the showstopper not getting value, might be the time to strike here for NRG. Wingman forwards, not quite finding it. Door flips open with the switch as well. It's a bit obfuscation in terms of the way that EG are trying to land this one, but finally the plant coming through. Shots also fired forwards. Dizzy blinded. Goop all over the place. NRG, they have the foothold. Surely just need to land these shots. They got the rifles in play. Still dealing with this one, though. Apoth. That is a pesky moment from him. He's just catching those late lurks. Demon 1, leave it to him. A 1v3. He's got to worry about the flank. He's got to be worrying about his hard anchoring positions of these players tucked in every single position. That's nice, though. Snappy. 6 bullets. Down to just 3. 33 health as well. Making it just so damn unlikely. Nature. Yeah, 1 bullet. Straight to the cranium. 9-6. EG have all the momentum behind them now.
Apoth is terrorizing them on the lurks again. He breaks the trip, cams into B, the cam doesn't get broken, sets him up for the late flank, putting pressure waterfall, and he just kind of pulls players further off site because they're worried about him, and allows the rest of his squad to get in, still manages to find the pick.
EG do love their aggressive Sentinel players, just taking those risks.
This 1-2 punch of Jorg at the front and Apoth behind is almost impossible for teams to deal with. Sentinel struggled, NRG are now struggling too. Meanwhile, we still haven't seen EG go for one of these just late round reclears over towards rubble, which I think could be extremely effective.
Apoth again going for the same play.
Yeah.
NRG, I mean, yeah, you're on the half bar. You got to make some moves towards something, but again, you're never really going to be favored trying to take that fight.
No, it's so easy for the player to just tuck into this corner and then set up multiple people kind of facing you from both sides. It's really rare we see the defenders win those fights, but it's the desperation from NRG. They're now walking back out, but they're going to meet Apoth's trip. Can they apply enough pressure?
We'll see. Trips broken onto the flank. There's a fast approach by NRG, and they are just trying to create that pressure, noise cues, and sounds. Apoth Stand up! Just can't quite do it.
That's
These
big.
kills. Yeah, flooding in the direction this time of NRG. See if they can do a bit more damage.
Victor's been anticipated.
And Nature, it's already fast. Forwards, Victor! Strip the head clean off. Kill feed filled up entirely with green, and now Ethan can take his time alongside Marv. Forwards here with Derek on such low HP. That is a necessary round for NRG.
Finally, the big name players on NRG showing why they should be respected.
Yeah.
EG knew almost every one of those swings was coming, but they still couldn't stop him. Victor got anticipated on his stairs push, the trip got broken behind, and they were watching the flank. But the combo of the fault line there, and some great shots being hit, giving NRG the round towards the end.
You've got to imagine that'll get the confidence back up for these NRG players.
It's a lifeline for them.
Yeah.
Right there.
It looks like NRG might want to dominate mount control again, potentially to get the orb onto one of these players, maybe Victor. I think this is going to be an enormous clash.
See them facing. Got to break the haunt though. TP across. How do you get through this initial smoke though? A hard ask.
I think this is one of those spots, honestly, where EG could try to use a better smoke from Superman. That one way is not finding value, but they're going to Nightfall instead.
Nightfall sends flying here with a paranoia and a nade. It's all being exchanged and lobbed on our even sides. Jorgamo just satches up to the high ground position and the smoke won't save you. Superman, did he just stick the TP behind them?
He did, because they're on Nightfall. There was no audio cue. Superman, there's nothing personnel, kid.
I mean, that is just insanity.
What a play by EG. You got to see there what NRG are trying to do to hold on to that space. The fault line came through from B, putting pressure on them, but Jorg just jumps up. They can't hear it because of the Nightfall, and an Omen ult behind him. That is sick.
That is so good. I mean,
we've seen teams rip those kind of ideas before. That could not have been timed more perfectly, because EG...
Yeah.
I mean, NRG were all in on that mount control. And the evil geniuses... Putting the genius back in their name there. Love that play.
Ripped it to shreds. Let's see it again. Surely going to be catching this one. I mean, Jorgamo's movement, impeccable, as per usual. But here it is. Just sticking a TV behind your eye and a Nightfall just... And you cut away all those sensors.
It might seem like a small thing, but the fact you can't hear the blast pack actually means that these NRG players had such bad crosshair placement for Jorg's peak. Normally, you hear a blast pack and you're like, all right, I'll start aiming upwards towards where you're anticipating seeing him. There's just no audio cue, so he just kind of appears out of nowhere on a weird angle.
You're just forced to react. NRG last time out for them. Pulled out. Of course it's going to be pulled out here. I mean, they've got their backs against the wall. This is an EG that are just let loose right now. The synergy's there. They're calling really good macro plays across the map, making sure that the reclears are there as well. I mean, you just see that. The way they take that fight, knowing that Mound is compromised. And I'm not sure, I feel like that can't even be preset. That's just them cooking up something on the fly, surely.
I'm not sure about that, because we haven't seen them heavy fight over Mound without those ults. So it might be something where they know that that Mound setup has been happening in previous rounds.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, oh, well, we can own this.
I was basing it off of Potter's disbelief, but...
Yeah, possibly.
It could have been.
Certainly, either way, an excellent round. And the pressure very firmly in the NRG camp. They've got bad weaponry, but they're forcing into it. I mean, down to 300 credits on Crashies, Marved, and Demon 1.
I mean, this is...
relying on the ults to get them across the line.
A backbreaker if it doesn't work out. It really is that full investment. Again, they're going to be winning out this initial fight and battle out towards Rubble. Just the nature of their composition. It's going to be able to take that space. Victor also has the showstopper. They could choose to get even more aggressive. Thrash. Nature was waiting for it. And he will apply it up as well, just going to retreat.
They would be fairly happy here to drive EG into Marv's setup. And Demon 1 was looking early round to try to catch this contact from Apoth. Apoth's been slow with it, but now he's going to be walking into Demon 1 and Victor. Demon 1 is fast on the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to him. This guy, he's still precise, just crouched up, locking down that one sight line. The play, it's forced out of them. A lot of trips to deal with. Orbital strike as well. Stun, connecting rocket, let loose on either side. But it's only that even fight taken. NRG It is that full investment. They got to come up with a win here. They're calling a pause now into this round, letting it loose here with the tap of Jorgamo, Aftershock, Molly, all sent forwards here.
That's good denial of the plant utility. And NRG are going to be set up here to go for either a flood or a set retake with the Thrash.
They can say tough, but they're still worried about a flank occurring. And it is tough, isn't it? With only 17 seconds remaining into this round here. Jump spot of Derek. He will get the acknowledgement that there's a player holding his position up towards heaven. Thrash needs to be broken, detained. It catches. And now kills need to be found on the EG side here. But for NRG, they're feeling it. There's blood in the water. They're making their way all the way forwards. The bait and switch. And the rifles singing true, landing onto all the targets. Every single mark.
That was the round that NRG had to win. They'd invested into it so heavily and had those ults to get them across the line. Great shot by Demon One. Still on Brimstone, allowing his aim to work for him. Perfect crosshair placement. And then this, the orbital strike, the molly with the aftershock. Made it almost impossible for EG, despite the fact that Jorg just bounced across and over both of those trips that Marv had waiting. Here we go. We haven't seen EG try to aggressively take rubble in the early round before. I think they're
going to be running into a rolling thunder. Yeah, I mean, Ethan's holding at least some form of the util. It's just a fault line for now.
I don't really see how EG could take this early round. I guess they were just hoping that NRG would up to something else. This is so deep.
Trying to push out of B as well at the same time. There's so many angles to account for. They're contacting back up through this. Demon One, he's overextended his hand. It's feeling like he has to make a play off of this one now for NRG. Them two feeling it. What a call to make. The right pauses into the moment, playing off the flashes, overwhelming the EG positions. Everybody was blinded up.
That takes guts to call for that play, when all of their pushes out through B main have failed up until that point. From the pistol through to this round, the coordination there from NRG after they took the pause was looking good, but Derek's going to try to fire back. How could he possibly isolate the ones, though?
Yeah, I mean, they're all grouped. Makes a nice go of it, I will have to admit.
I want to see that round on the replay, though. NRG, they took a pause in the middle of that because they didn't find the angles immediately. EG were playing behind cover, and then they accelerated a second time. There was a second phase of util, and that Dizzy with the flash.
It's a double flash.
Oh, man, that was powerful. Because, oh, there it is, that second breach flash that comes through, comboed with the Dizzy. Beautiful second wave of aggression from NRG. That's something they've been missing before. You do have to be very all in, though, to make a play like that work.
It has knocked EG, though. Weaker guns. Jorgamo, the only one with the rifle. Side by side, though. Nade will clear this in the corner stretch and right in case there was a trip there as well. It would have cleared it.
EG have got some players deep over towards A. This is one of the only rounds that I can remember where NRG did not start with that heavy rubble pressure.
Yeah.
So EG already reading into that, knowing that something's very different. I think they've probably got a great idea that this is just the Cypher on A.
Bring them down.
Trip broken, tree taken.
Especially with the Prowler. Haven't broke the cam, though, so Marv's going to get that. I mean, really just solid information. Still hold on to this one. He doesn't fire the dart. Doesn't want them to even check into this position, but now finally reveals the position of it, drops it down. A lot of util here, flying forwards here for NRG seeking to disrupt again. They haven't broken this count. It's got another go of things here with a tag, but finally that plant forwards. Rifle's got to do work. Aftershock, pushing Nature wide. Jorgamo falls, and he was the one who really was going to be supplying that danger. No util, spamming away into the smokes. Clean round by NRG. So, nice now, flawless, 10-10.
NRG have done such an excellent job at pulling things back level here on EG's map pick, a map that we haven't seen from NRG all year, and they've forced a tactical timeout from Potter. They really didn't know where that cam was from Marv. They had a great idea that it was only marved on the site.
Yeah.
They just couldn't figure it out. Looking like the middle of London, just CCTV footage everywhere.
It's forced a timeout from Evil Geniuses. Like you said, Josh, I mean, time for Potter to really work out what's going wrong.
Yeah, EG do not have any of those big ults to try to start a snowball. So they're going to have to do it with their own wits. I think trying to find the spot that Marv is playing, they might have a good read by this point. That Marv is often playing alone with his Cypher setup. And so if Jorg can get past the utility and they get an early plant down, the problem with that game plan is, by the time you get in position to plant, normally some of the NRG players have rotated over and they have plant denial util, aftershock, molly, nade, something like that. So it's tough to make a fast hit into the Cypher really work. Take a look at the highlights of this round one more time. We're about to go straight into the next. 10-10. Rubble fight again, and this time EG are going to be lucky in that NRG are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
So they're going to get the line here, and they're going to immediately realize that this is not that classic 3-player stack on Rubble. I wouldn't be surprised to see EG just run it straight into Marv as soon as they realize there's no stun.
Well, like round to cover.
They're like, right, okay, this is the same setup from the last round, I think.
Realizing there's no pushback. This time Cam in a different position here for Marv. Door. The Prowler.
Yeah, you can see with the way that they're taking this, they are not worried about anybody being here.
Nope.
They know this is only Marv to probably retake setup.
In full control. And the Prowler as well, connecting onto the trip. That's going to get them signs of life they needed. Still, Cam. Seeing it, Superman with the plant. Nades. Forwards. This is Victor. He's been sent flying. Trebuchet right into the site. It's NRG now, not messing around with the pit. He's going to be covering this one into the post. He's going to be stretching far enough. Aftershock. Ethan, hesitancy in terms of which part of his util and kit to really utilize in this moment. Satchel's pushing him back and away. Crashies onto the defuse. Anything to stop this? Anything to stop this? The gunfight's won! And it's all wrapped up.
Everyone from EG decided to take the fight outside of the pit, looking to try to stop NRG from flooding around.
What happened with the util?
Just no ability to stop that from coming through at all.
You got a pit on that. Surely first tap you put a snake bite. Well, I don't know what happened entirely with nature to be distracted, but it's that flood attempt.
Sick from Victor. It really has been good watching him play Raze. He's up at the top of the scoreboard, but it's more the space that he's been taking and the comfort with his movement. Again, NRG are not fighting for Rubble, and EG are just walking this one through. You know, they're very confident here to just allow them to run into Marv's setup and play the A retake.
Marv will do enough to at least delay.
The cams have been rotated every single round.
Always in a different spot. Sees it again, he knows it. Peekaboo. Cam not going to be broken. Laid up towards heaven, stops anybody from pushing back out to it. There was a snake bite as well to try and get that safe plant. Superman just being disrupted. Back to pieces there by the Cam, and again another flood attempt right when the plant isn't even going down here. It's Superman who falls into that tree angle. Still need to deal with pit, and there's really no protocols right now for EG. They don't really have the guns for it. Gonna try and take it here. Raw mechanical ability. Derek's position is so damn tenuous. Repositions forwards, last two bullets not finding it. Jorgmo with the rocket flying. Ethan found no stun connection. Jorgmo's still there, but now flushed out into the open once more. And the nades are good and the util better. NRG this time gaining that ground, scaling forwards. Pop trying to get cheeky with it. Nature swings. Orbital strike, but Demon 1 sticking. It's cleared out the position, 7 bullets, 3 left. Demon 1 with a tap, half already earned. Nature, no way!
Sick clutch from EG on a thrifty round for them, keeping this one tied up at 11-11. I felt like there were opportunities for Demon 1 to use that orbital strike way earlier in the round, and there was players fighting over towards pit, instead using it late, wanting to keep his rifle out earlier on, and he took half as Victor was just dashing back and forth to try to find the timing onto Nature.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it. Big 1v2 for the caller of EG. And this time, EG are going to mix it up. They're not taking that free space towards Rubble.
So looking to try and fight over Mound this time. I mean, Jorgmo, this level of aggression is ridiculous.
Using the Haunt, using the Prowler to realize that Mound was not being heavily contested for. I think there's chances that you could go for like a reclear strategy here from NRG perhaps, but you don't have the paranoia to work with. Nature is also just getting free space. I think he's got the read here, that as long as you're on the opposite side of the map to where Victor and the stun is playing, you can just take a ton of map control for free.
Cage triggered.
House call for that pivot. Making moves over towards the A side again. NRG going to be tested with the flood. Fighting forwards. This Nightfall, though, it's been problems for them in the past. Apop is making full work of it. He's just full sprinting right behind him. The detainment, a slight catch and collision, at least with the rocket. Victor brings him down, but it's been the pivot all along. Superman takes us all out there with a yacht fighting forwards. Jorgamo seeing it, and the kills are collected. Crossfire setups with all of these rifles. Victor stands his ground, keeps his cool, avoiding the damage, but cannot win the fight out. And for Crashies now, all leaving it to Marv. Iceman in a clutch, but this is a little bit too much. These post-plant positions, impossible to dislodge EG from it. This is going to be them up to 12. Inevitable at this point. Little bit scrappy, little bit messy, but EG will be happy the job is getting done.
One round away from closing out their match against NRG 2-0. Phenomenal resurgence from this Evil Geniuses squad. I would say unthinkable, except it happened last year. It did.
Yeah.
With a totally different team, bar Jorgamo and Potter. But damn if it's not giving the same kind of vibes.
Firing on all cylinders. All the pieces towards EG. I mean, kind of swinging and playing off of each other. Impeccable work. And this is it for NRG. They got to try and force it to OT for a chance into the series.
So this round, you see the stun happening over towards A.
Over the top though, this time Team of One anticipating it. That satchel play of Jorgamo. Not getting the same value.
This time, no Nightfall to try to disguise it. Double kill trip setups. You can play from on top of this angle. Apop trying to work his way into B. He's been demonic on these lurk timings.
Flash, dodged out. Lovely with the aim and a reset, but a bit of a bait and switch. Crashies doesn't alert himself to his presence, finally swings for the kill.
Marv's setup's been broken over towards C, and EG are in. A 3v4 to close things out and win the series.
To bring it all the way to OT, Marv. Full wraparound here, seeking to clear out these positions. Yeah, just waiting for the body. No FF now. Give them the information they were looking for, but again, it's that mound plan. Marv's position here is essential. He needs either kills or distraction, enough to try and get NRG in. They have taken that space out towards the site. Victor is hard pressed though. Wingman onto this plant as well, not being broken. It's a lovely smoke to cut up these angles, and it's all placed. Perfection in the making here for NRG. The way they played that one in the retake, I gotta say, they have firm understandings of how they were gonna win it.
Overtime.
This map has been so back and forth. Any team could come out with a victory here in overtime.
Yeah.
Such a strange comp that we're seeing from NRG. But finding value with it.
I love the way that Team 1 plays that. He knows that they planned it for Mound, so he smokes off the position.
Yeah.
It forces EG out into the open in that final moment.
And they swing together. Beautiful stuff. And we're heading into overtime, 12-12. The sides are going to flip. EG defending. This one was a 6-6 half. It was dead even on them both.
NRG was struggling on their attack side. It's the ultimates really that got them over the line in a lot of situations or lurk plays. Keep up the same level of consistency.
They're starting off with that macro idea, NRG, that I thought was their best one, which is that Victor and Marv go forwards. They're trying to make sure that they still have presence here when Derek tries to re-clear it. Insert Marv, go and take some mound, and you can even re-hit A in the late here, if you need to.
It's all been slowed down now. Again, minute in the round. First one of OT, Horn getting good info. So EG seeing that tag onto two of the players. Marv this time, the Prowler catching onto him.
Yeah, I think
be able to get the same play going.
I think this is a really good timing now to head towards A if Demon 1 hasn't seen anything. They're going to leave Victor over here just for a moment. I mean, if he throws a nade or something, oh, they're going to B. They've pulled people over towards C and B, and they're going to end B.
C's nade again.
That's
possibility.
difficult.
Yep, C's catching Victor. Fully isolated away from that fight. At least with the cam to tag him, he's going to be backed away for a moment. Now over towards A. Guess what? Superman's time to shine. He's the one locking this one down in a slight off angle. They don't anticipate it. Flash. It's beautiful. All sorts of Udall being used to great success for EG. And there it is. 13-12. Once more they find themselves, Josh, one step away.
Switching sides.
NRG was so close to cooking up a good round there. And they dragged 2 players C, 2 players B, and they tried to hit B. They're just forced to make a scramble over through rubble in the late round where EG already had the read of what was happening. Similar stuff, the time being Ethan's biggest enemy, IGLing.
Oh, yeah.
Just a bit too readable on where they were finishing. Lovely C9 combo to separate Victor from the rest of the team. EG reading them like a book. Attack side for Evil Geniuses. I think the biggest thing you can take away from EG's attack, they were getting the sights.
Yeah.
They were just getting pressured, and then NRG would set up and flood defend. So if EG can come up with ideas in the post plant, or can try to run some kind of fake even, actually, because NRG were fairly quick to bite on what was happening.
Could be options available. This is NRG taking a timeout, of course, but EG are going to be able to utilize it.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, for sure.
You're right, they have been getting into that post-plant scenario, usually the plant going down. The trouble is with NRG's comp as well, they have abundance of resources when it comes to the util that they can use to disrupt, either to stop the plant going down in the first place or just for the retake. We've seen it being so damn good for EG, they could choose to take it into a different direction once they get into the plant, maybe an aggressive post-plant,
and
instead of hanging all the way back.
EG have been gambling a little bit at the start of the rounds. They'll try to take some rubble control until they hit the fault line, and then they get an idea that it's a 3-player stack. So you see everybody bunched up as if there's going to be a rubble fight here, but I would expect EG to just back off as soon as they get stunned. Oh, the stun is held.
Yeah, just waited, delayed. I think this is a good call here. Now Ethan's going to let it rip alongside some util, potentially. No noise cues. Nade forwards. Nature playing inside of his own orb. Horn sent flying, so they know that nobody's there. Has cleared out rubble control. This time EG, I mean, they can just posture this entirely. They have walked into B. NRG, there's a level of that awareness that they know that it's going to be compromised, but they're going to be ready onto the ankles. Mouth! He lets it loose with the fire. Demon One quick to take it, but they don't realize Heaven's compromised. Jorgamo backs against it. Satchel away. Ethan collects it.
3v3 though, and as things calm down, EG are locked out of the B site. Nature has space, repositions the orb to try to open this avenue for the rest of his team. But it's going to be a little slow before Superman and Derek can get here. And Nature's trying to make it as safe as possible, but he can't cover everywhere at once. And these NRG players are sneaking through to heaven.
They're already down to the side. The silent drop down of Victor. In position, ready to strike. Ethan, util at hand, fault line forward to the satchel, didn't connect with the stun, matters not, still with the kills. And the flash forced to be dodged, because Derek, he can't set his crosshairs onto the likely target. Nature is here to do so much more, but there's no easy options. Lovely movement.
An amazing synergy between Victor and Ethan there. Ethan stuns, Victor capitalizes. Yes, it didn't land, but it's still that pressure. And then a flash, just connected, really well connected in terms of how they want to play off each other. This isn't the duo that was kept together. This is connecting the parts from Evil Geniuses and Optic, you know, that NRG core, to try to form them into this one squad. Love the way that those two are playing.
Careful there.
All this for NRG, hanging on by a thread. Still in it. They're looking for an extension into the series. Being tested through and through.
Marv may be looking for this aggressive B timing again. He's broken the trip at front B. And NRG are putting a lot of pressure at the start of the round.
Here we go for replay. Superman's way out into the open here. He gets caught. Too much to overcome there, at least with the flashes into his face, and now they have to reassess the expectations. The push and the fight coming out through tree, and Derek forced to reload and back away. Side by side with Jorgamo, though. This is getting so damn precarious.
They're worried about where Marv could be. He's reconnected with the rest of the team, but that also means that Ethan doesn't have other options to go back to.
What is this situation?
I mean, Marv is trying to give them an option to pivot in a different direction once the time gets down, because at the moment, NRG have no info anywhere else on the map. But Marv's just one man.
Yeah.
Can't gather info all across the rest of the map on his own.
Can't fake the presence, so EG get the knowledge surely at the back of their minds.
30 seconds
Have to worry about the late lurk, but they can keep a lot of bodies anchored, rooted into place and position. Derek with a dizzy dealt with. Nature instantly there, swinging out wide. Derek seeking it, breaking it apart into pieces. Like a whirlwind, man, EG. They will not give up that space. They'll just take it one step further.
Switching sides. Match point.
EG get another match point. They've had a bunch of them in the game so far. And if they convert, if EG win this game, then the Omega Group guaranteed that third playoff spot. A lot of people have been looking. The groups look one-sided, very lopsided. There was a chance that it would be only 1,100 Thieves going through from the Omega Group, but he guaranteed somebody, not guaranteed EG. All right, stun early.
And this is what it comes down to! Jorgamo! I mean, pure disrespect on display. I mean, he's trying to just evade the stun, try and catch that timing against them.
Yeah, and they haven't gone for anything like that. So I love that they're working things differently in overtime, but it doesn't work. NRG too sharp for that one.
Losing one of the heavy hitters. Again, you're on the precipice. You can find advantage of yourselves, but NRG should be pleased with it for now. Smoke in Victor's face. Fear and paranoia at the back of his mind that they could have taken the A side because there's a lot of util being used into that direction. But EG calling for a pivot into B, it looks like. Me gonna have that main control. Apoff, in fact, fully just not walking all the way in.
It's just purely in the blind spot of the cam. And Apot's through, opened up the avenue for Superman, who broke the camera.
They're worried about just a fast play here, but NRG, they're so slow on the mark, they're not even in position to really disrupt this one. So Superman now gonna be getting that full stick down. In these moments, close attention has to be paid, I think, to Derek. He's the one who's gonna be holding this off angle when this retake occurs. If he gets some kills, plays his life, tucks himself forwards, Nature's there, Dizzy's broken. Just not really finding any easy finds with the satchel forwards. They have paved the way, at least the direction that NRG can take this into the retake. Apoff inside the cage, winning out his ones, but it's just one man. What can you do? Not a lot. We go again.
NRG's retakes, making sure that they clean up Derek there. There was certainly a chance for Derek to put them through. If he'd been a little cleaner on securing those kills, this match might have ended already. Yeah, and I don't blame Jorg for trying to find that timing at the start of the round. You've got to remember, we're deep into overtime at this point.
Yeah.
You can't just be sticking to the same game plans you had throughout regulation.
I mean, conditioning be damned. You got to mix it up. The playbook, got to rewrite it or just throw it out.
Watch and learn.
Back and forth, back and forth.
On defense, to take a look at this camera, it's been absolutely ruining NRG.
And a pass fight! As a stun, at least the connection. Jorgamo's way ahead of it though with a C still. TP forward, Superman! He's dealt with! Jorgamo! He falls! And marked! From behind with a dagger in his hand! Apoff doing a decent amount of work, but you need even more than that. Feels like the first time in ages. NRG with this surely setting themselves up now. One round ahead, taking the lead in this map. Best opportunity they've really had.
Derek gives away where he's positioned and takes a rocket for it. NRG get themselves up to a map point, 15 to 14. It's been grueling to get themselves up here. Evil Geniuses take a tactical timeout, determined to try to answer back and drag us further through overtime.
Pushing to the limits here, I mean, of both teams. And EG went for a similar play. I mean, just actually trying to opt into this rubble fight here.
How does Jorg die there?
It's just back a few, I mean, stray bullets, I think.
Yeah, it takes a bit of spam and then the boom bomb catches him in the side of the head.
Yeah.
That's a wild one. NRG have not been able to close out rounds early like that. EG have never fought them at the start of those rounds on defense. And NRG's composition really able to flex in those rubble fights. EG can't hold on in those big brawls. They've got to play for later on in the round.
And here is where the focus is applied to EG because, you know, as much as it's been back and forth in the OT, it's both of these teams winning these rounds on the defensive side. It's only finally NRG overcoming whatever the obstacle was to get their attack side round. Now they're on the favored defensive half. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. Potter, you can see he's calling up potential masterclass, but it's gonna need to be one.
Look at this buy here from Victor. The glass cannon operator on a player not really known for doing too much opping. Gonna try to pick this one up and add a different layer into how they're defending towards Mound. Normally, it's been Demon 1's smoke and then a stun behind it, people positioned. Are they still gonna go for the smoke? That seems really weird to smoke your opera off.
This is bizarre.
They're not. Does EG smell a rat?
Satchels, forwards, paranoia! Shot missed! Victor, I think just steadily moving away, and Demon 1 brought down. And spectator seed crashes. Biding, waiting, and what a play he could make.
There's nobody else
coming. Play it down, you could even it up. There is no one else coming, but he might just be waiting for it entirely. No call-outs.
The longer it waits, the more chance for Crashies to potentially mess this one up, and
there
he takes it.
Does take it. The easy shot finally. So it is 4v4. Victor, a lot of damage done for him, being pressured by that Prowler, and now nearsighted, blinded, forwards, already taking a space with a seize! Flick to the side! Victor! He's isolated down just to the raw aim aspects, and he's got backup. Arrived in time here. Ahead of the flashes, though. Ethan can't claim the kill. Still, they're falling to pieces. For EG, it all leans and relies on Apoth. But look at the awareness of Crashies. He's already ready to contain, already put a stop to it. And Derek in a 1v3. We've seen clutches from him, but for NRG, that grueling finish right to the line. They win it out, and they earn their extension in the series.
What a game on Lotus. We are going to sunset off the back of NRG being able to pull things out in overtime. They went down a player at the start of that.
Yeah.
Victor had to hit the more difficult shot with the operator just to close things out there. On a map that we haven't seen all year long from Ethan and the squad, they come out with this victory. And I think this is only going to add fuel to the fire, Bren, of the community and NRG fans wanting to see this as the normal setup, with Victor being the Raze player and having Demon 1 on smokes. What's that the difference? Only speculation.
Came down to just so much minutiae within that map, but well, bit of a quick break now. When we return, the analysts, of course, going to be getting us ready for that third and final map. Don't go anywhere.